were just a part of an incredible panel. Thanks to Help for HD for helping to make way for this. But you guys just got to speak in front of the FDA. Is that correct?
We did. It was a big day the other day.
What does that mean exactly? And just like, if you can, just take a few minutes, you can share like your experience of what that looks like.
Go ahead, Erika. I could go first, but I don't want to be rude.
So I found out in October that Katie has been trying to get the FDA to listen to JHD moms, because as with an adult who has Huntington's, they have opportunities to have certain medicines or to be able to participate in clinical trials, where children have no opportunities because they say that they're too young to make these choices on their own, and it could be more detrimental to them. Honestly, as if you're a child with ADHD, there's nothing worse than the fact that you're dying as it is. So I don't know what else could be worse than being able to participate in a clinical trial, have access to certain medicines. So we found out, I was able to be on the panel. I talked a lot more about Olivia's dystonia, since she has it more than the other children do, the different medicines that she's on. It was an amazing opportunity to be able to do this. I feel so blessed that I was asked. I was nervous, feel like my speech was never good enough or right enough. But we, as moms, we bared our souls and bared our lives, and just begging for help. This is what it comes down to, is we're begging for help for our children. And, the day might come that none of this might be available to my child or to be able to help my child. And it's a horrible thing, but if we could prevent it and help another child, that would make me happy, at least if somebody else's child wouldn't have to go through this. Your turn, Londen.
When we were talking earlier about feeling alone and everything in the community, back in 2013, when I had went to that very first convention, clinical trials hadn't even been a thing. It was just like, let's hope, hope's coming for the future. And that's all I could hope for. And by the time I went to my next convention in 2018, clinical trials had been going on, and Autumn was diagnosed and she was in early stages. One of the first things I did was see, I'm like, okay. Because I never had to look up clinical trials for my kids. I thought, this would be a later thing. I never crossed my mind that, it would be a problem for my child to get into a clinical trial. Turns out kids aren't allowed in clinical trials. And that killed me even more, because I'm like, how is this possible? Like, that was part of my just devastation, the timing of all of this, her CAG repeat, the fact that trials are coming and they're like, we're so close, but this disease progresses so fast. And so it's just like, it killed me. And then to go to convention and to walk by booths and they're like, hey, come on over, let's talk about this clinical trial. And I'm like, I remember that was part of one of my crying episodes in 2019, is I walked by one and he was nice, but he's just like, come on over and talk. I'm like, no. He's like, no, come on over. And I'm like, no, my daughter has juvenile Huntington's. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he didn't say cocky, but like, he knew that I knew, like, sorry, he can't even help me. So I just walked away. I was just really sad the whole time. Anyway, so I felt alone. I felt alone in a community that I was a part of for so long. Now I just like felt so alone, and I felt like nobody in this community that's supposed to understand me understood me at all. So I'm glad to like finally have people, connecting with other people and to sharing their stories and what they're going through in their voices, and I think that's been helpful. But so now going from finding out my daughter had this disease and not being able to be in these trials, it killed me. And that whole time, from that time, I was just in this all deep depression. I'm like, what can I sell? Where can I go? What can I do to get my child into one of these trials? Like, I'll do anything. I got a be friends with a scientist. Maybe someone can give me the recipe. I don't know, but like literally I'm willing to do anything. And it killed me. It killed me, it killed me, and killed me. And it was like, how is this possible? So eventually, not that I tried every avenue I could. I looked into compassionate use and all the right to try. And literally the bottom line was like pharmaceutical companies and the FDA, they need to be in agreement. They got to work together in order to make anything happen. Thankfully, Katie at Help for HD, facilitated exactly what needed to happen. So when I found out this meeting was happening, I literally said, I need to be there. Like I need to, if I'm not, I need to be there. And I'm glad I was, because I'm glad to be a part of it. But it finally happened, and it was a big day to work up to. And it was I think the hardest thing was trying to decide, what do I say in 7 minutes to portray like my child and our life and what we're going through, our symptoms. There's so much about this disease that's like, what do I say? And when I started writing it, I just spoke from the heart, and all of our stories, and I know Erika can agree, we couldn't have done it without each other. Because the way I didn't, and you may have heard, because there's recordings, we did a pre-recording so you can hear like what I said in a sense, what we all said. But our stories, like our stories were each other's stories. Like the symptoms that some of the symptoms Bella's going through, or Aaliyah's going through it. It's like literally our stories are all one story. And they definitely understood that 100%. And we left the meeting feeling, all of us, I think, felt fantastic. Like we just felt like it went great. And then I did talk to Katie later on, and she's kind of basically told me it went better than we even thought. Like it was beyond better than it could have, with Billy Dunn, who actually came on, and he like broke the rules, and he was like, I'm gonna break the rules because I just want to say hi to all of you. And also he wanted to let us know that he knows what our children are going through, because he's a neurologist and he actually treated a patient with juvenile Huntington's disease. And we were all like, what? Just knowing that if you're a parent with a child, you just know that they know. So that just sharing all of our stories and all of, what we're asking for, it was great. And so not only that, there was other pediatric, I wish I should have messaged Katie for the exact names, but there were other big people at the FDA who their question and answer, it went fantastic. It went better than it could have. There was people on there that just wanted to thank us for our bravery, for coming on and being so open and honest and raw and sharing us and opening up about our family and what we're going through. It went really well. It went really well. And we feel really good about it. Sorry if I was just rambling there.
You guys are fresh off of this. This literally was.
It's hard to say. It's just a weird feeling though, because literally I think we all jumped off and all just felt really good. We were like, wow, that went great. Like it's hard to explain why it went great, but it went great. And hopefully start to hear about these kids being able to be in these trials. I think Prolinia is I think they're one of the first ones that probably will do it. And then that just opens the door for everybody else. So, but Michael Hayden was that October, Erika, when he came on, Help for HD's virtual hype? When was that?
I want to say it was in the summer, but maybe it was
Maybe
October.
it was in the summer. I don't know when it was. It was last year sometime. Michael Hayden came on. In fact, I started crying. I made a TikTok about it. I was just like thrown back. That was the first, to hear him say specifically juvenile Huntington's disease. We're looking into juvenile Huntington's disease for kids, and we hope to see juvenile Huntington's disease in clinical trials in 2023. And I remember just being like, oh my God, that. And then I was in California last year, and I won't say his name, but he was from one of the pharmaceutical companies, came up to me. I was speechless because it was the first time ever someone I guess knew who I was from all of my advocacy and stuff. And he said, he wanted to ask me, his words were like, what would I be willing to do to get my child into a clinical trial? And I just was like, it's like, you've been waiting for that question for like, what, anything? I just started crying though.
Kiss your shoe right now, like whatever it is.
Yeah, I just started crying, and I just kind of fumbled and basically said anything, absolutely anything. Like we all would, not just me. Ask all those ladies, all of us, we would. So anyway,
I guess,
you know, and I hope the sooner the better. But if not for our children, for the future generations and into.
it sounds like, especially like Help for HD is just such a wonderful organization. They've just been so pivotal in targeting and focusing on JHD families and making sure that there is specific support and resources. So I guess for the rest of us that are out here, you know, for us within the HD community in general, what can we do more to support even specifically Olivia and Autumn and just overall the JHD community? Like, is there something that through your connections you've been able to identify that is missing from the rest of the HD community?
The centers of excellence they do not all take juvenile Huntington's disease kids. And that's a problem. That's a problem because people reach out to me when they're worried about their child, and I have done lots of stuff with and for HDSA, and I know that, you know, that's where we recommend. We recommend find your closest center of excellence. But in the juvenile Huntington's disease community, I have had 2 people that I've said, go to a center of excellence, and they did, and they were turned away because they don't take kids. And that was actually, and I found out. And I remember being so confused and then going on HDSA's website, and I'm like, no, that's not, yes, they take all kids. No, they don't. And that needs to happen.
You know, obviously we've come leaps and bounds from where we used to be. And, you know, I'm personally, I can say like, you know, I'm so grateful that we have the centers of excellence, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, once we set them up, like that shouldn't be it. Like there's still work to be done. And, you know, I've had my own frustrations going somewhere where they didn't have a psychiatrist on the team. And that was the thing I needed the most at that time. So, and
it just feels like if they have them though, it should have all of those components, all of them. Like if it shouldn't be a center of excellence if it doesn't have all of those things.
HD please want one-stop shopping. Let me tell you, that's what we want. We want one-stop shopping, please.
Right? Exactly. So I don't know. That's what I would like to see happen soon though. And yeah, I might reach out to HDSA just because it's been on my mind, and I want to see if there's anything I can do to help try to make that happen. Or maybe they have suggestions for me for when people come to me and, you know, they want to see someone who's the closest person who specializes in, I think, a directory, you know, of resources for JHD would also be great. You know, when we were, sorry, and I don't mean to keep rambling, but when we were talking about support groups, it would be like, I don't know who needs to do it, but one of us, whether it be HD Reach, Help for HD, HDSA, I don't care, but I think we all need to get together and like have a combined list of support groups that are out there per state, whether they're virtual or not, the times they are, and just like somebody keep it updated to like if there's other ones that people can go to, so people have a kind of, you know, book of directories of resources and virtual or in-person support groups. I think that would be really great.
That one-stop shopping, let me tell you.
That's right. I love that one-stop shopping, girl. You know,
go to all these websites.
I'm hearing you guys. I'm working. I'm going to start working on it now. All right.
Just want to make it easy for the people.
Yeah.
And I think too, for me, like that's something really important for me to hear, because I don't think I've ever thought to even ask the Center of Excellence that I take my brother to that, you know, do they have JHD patients? Do they see JHD patients? What are they doing? So for me, I appreciate you sharing that, because that's something that I'm going to take with me, and I'm going to take it to the center there and ask what they're doing.
Because if you find out they do take JHD patients, that's a wonderful thing to know. That it's good to know if they do, because then it's good to know if they don't. But awesome.
And that goes
So
up.
the one you guys, the one you guys are near is the one in the Duke, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, We didn't go there for my husband. We went originally to Wake Forest. Was that a center of excellence too? Dr. Walker? I'm
So
not sure. That's where Mary Edmondson was at that point, over in that vicinity. That's why we went over to Dr. Walker and Wake Forest. When Olivia was diagnosed, her neurologist is just a pediatric neurologist for Atrium. And she's like, I don't know where to go, what to tell you. And she reached out to Dr. Burton Scott. I believe he's retired now, over there. And he's, said, I don't see.
Still going strong.
Yeah,
Still going
he's still
strong.
kicking.
Oh, is he? Because they said he said he didn't see juvenile Huntington's patients, but he would make an exception. So we had gone down, and then that's when he was the original one who started doing the Botox on Olivia, because nobody in Charlotte would do the Botox because he was doing it in her neck, thinking he could move her neck back. Once we found out the neck can't be moved back, now she sees, a physiatrist in Charlotte who does it in her shoulder and who does it in her arm for her hand. So it loosens up the neck and keeps the hand going. But we haven't been there in a while. I'm supposed to take my son there to go. I was thinking about making an appointment to go there as soon as but I'm trying to get life insurance on him first.
And for people, Duke is going to be about what, a 3.5 hour drive for you?
It's 2.5 to 3 hours, but I'm a New Yorker, so I drive pretty fast. It's like 2.5 to 3.
Yeah, I know. With my situation, with my mother is gene positive, but she lives in Myrtle Beach. So when she was seeing Dr. Mary Edmondson, psychiatrist years ago, she was driving 3 hours, 4 hours. Like that was just, but we're fortunate that Columbia has a site, Charleston's, things are moving, but
hey, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, as long as you're able to locate the closest one, that's, I think,
but that's what's powerful is you travel, you do what you do for your loved one, and you make that time and make that effort to transport. But I think we as a community do need to just do a better job at supporting each other, and really not only each other, but each other within, whether it's a center of excellence or whether it is a local neurologist, and bringing up, like, the more noise that people make, the more that we talk about this, it's, it's going to move more mountains than if we stay silent.
Together we are stronger.
Exactly.
True.
I think my biggest problem is trying to put things in order for myself, for Olivia. I'm struggling. I reached out to Erika back in December, and I still don't have anything, and I still don't have any ideas of what to do. Okay, so my child is going to be 17 in April. What legal documents do I need to have so that I am in charge of her? What legal documents do we need to have that she doesn't become a ward of the state if I get into a car accident? I don't know.
You're saying that you feel like we need like a social worker for JHD type situation? Or
social worker, legal advice too.
Legal advice, yeah.
Legal advice.
Have we talked about that before at any of the? Because
I bring it up all the time. I don't get it.
I feel like is her name Jessica at HDSA? I feel like she did.
Allison, the lawyer.
Allison.
So I did speak to Allison in December, and it was like a whirlwind of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, where do I even still go? So
You're
I'm
right.
like, I've looked into a special needs trust. I've looked into an ABLE account. ABLE account, you can't talk to anybody. They just send me information online and said, you can sign up online. No, I need to know, because my biggest thing is if money is going to be taken away from my child, I can't afford to keep my house going. And if that's going to be an issue, where do I put the money so it doesn't get taken away as a monthly copay? And how do I use it to pay mortgage payment or pay a bill or any of that? And honestly, I'm a teacher. I make nothing. How do we even have money to say, oh, I can afford a special needs trust? I can afford to get all this paperwork done so that we have, all these legal papers.
No,
How do
you're
we
right.
do it?
Yeah,
We don't have the money for all this stuff. I mean, I just, that's my biggest stress right now,
Oh,
because I
girl.
don't know what to do.
I mean, yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
lot.
I have a guardian for Olivia. That's not an
I wish I
issue.
could get paid to be a caregiver. I wish it just, so there's certain things in my state that you just can't.
Can't do. It's all over.
So here's the problem, I think, is our frustrations, Erica, and what you're saying, because I agree with you. There's been stuff with Medicaid and Social Security. Things are different when it comes to juvenile Huntington's disease. Things are much different when it comes to juvenile Huntington's disease. For me, for instance, I had 2 back surgeries, and because I was out for way too long, I lost my job in between them. I can't go back to work because the progression is so far now. I'm trying to get respite. Turns out I get on it. There's a 3 to 5 year wait. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. And like, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I wish there was somebody that works for like some group, like some specialist could come in that just focuses on juvenile Huntington's disease, but understands the laws in each state, because each state is different. And that's where the problem comes in, because I've talked to people about these things, but the problem is they don't know the state law. Like, we literally need to have, it would be nice, I guess I should say. It would be really wonderful to have somebody who, either, can figure out, like, for certain situations, how to help certain people, like for instance, let me just point out myself. How is there any other things that could help me? Is there ways that we could expedite Autumn on this respite list? It's supposed to be 3 to 5 years before she gets any help. What financially, is there any, like, I wish there was somebody that could kind of guide me with that.
They don't pay us a living
But for
wage
all
to
of
stay
us,
home.
the Social Security thing, thankfully, Angie has done so much with Social Security in our JHD mom support group. She's a great resource if you got questions about Social Security and stuff like that. So,
I can't
it's
imagine, I can't imagine the difficulties, especially like with a child and all those. Because I already felt very overwhelmed with like my brother, and like we met with an elder care lawyer and a financial advisor, and
yes,
Allison Bartlett, love her, Jim, and
Yep.
but you're right, like there does need to be more specific things when it comes to JHD, and knowing that hopefully
we
that's
definitely need help
we can
there.
try to work on. Yeah.
It is extremely difficult. It is extremely, there's just, the supports are not out there for the young population. You have people who are 30, 40 who need placement, and it's like, you don't have those options, and your parents, and you're doing a full-time job and taking care of your child, and it's like, it's not realistic to not be able to receive support. It doesn't, and not have any of those other options out there for respite. Like, it's
a bummer. So
it's heartbreaking. So, but we are listening, and we are taking,
and we appreciate that. I've noticed there are a lot of, we appreciate you guys asking, and for people that are seeing this and listening, and we're asking for, we're here too. We are part of this community, and these are our children, and these are our families, and we get it. Like, the HD is 90% of you are adults, but these kids are here too, and they need help too. If not, they need help more, really, as fast as this disease progresses. So, yeah.
I really I can't thank you guys enough for sharing your stories, and really just sharing your heart, and not even only in this session, but every other facet of what y'all have been doing within your groups, within opportunities like the FDA session. This is something that the world needs to hear more about. I know that I need to hear more about, and I'm just very, very grateful for the opportunity to be here with y'all. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do in the future to really just support the amp up for support for JHD, and try to get that one-stop shop,
Love that one-stop shop, baby.
Yeah, that's gonna be our new program, One Stop Shop.
That's what you should call it.
Yeah.
One Stop Shop.
I'm gonna edit this and put in a little one-stop shop.
Yes.
But it's incredibly important. Thank you both so much. You guys were so honest and just sharing your stories. And for you watching the video at home, like, these are things that we can do to help these mothers, to help these fathers, to help these children, and to help each other within the HD community. So, and these are still, I think, they're smaller asks. We're not trying to make massive changes. These are some things where it's like, let's work together and let's see what more we can do together to support each other. So
That's right. One step at a time.
And One Stop Shop.
That's right. One step, one stop. I
Well,
love it.
thank you.